What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Montana Method podcast. One more time. Tonight, I have a very spontaneous episode, which I'm very interested to see how it plays out. It's a very recent friend of mine that I met through another good friend of mine that is going to be featured later on in the podcast once he's ready, right, Lay? So, we're going to have a great time. We're going to make friends because I'm making a friend as we air this. He's an interesting guy. He's into fashion. He's into graphic design. And he's into some interesting stuff. So, stay tuned. Here we are with the man, Jose, a.k.a. 2016.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really out here in these streets. That's day and night. Like there's nothing to it. When I was going through it, dog, I never got your call. I never asked for nothing, no. But now I want it all. I promise I'ma do it. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags.
What's up, my brother?
What's good?
What's going on?
Chilling, man. Just trying to take this all in. You know, the new opportunity.
Yeah.
The new friendship.
Dope.
The opportunity to speak on some things, you know?
Dope.
So, are we going to ask questions? Is this just going to be like, what's good? How does this work?
I don't know.
Let me get into something.
I honestly don't know. That's the God's honest truth. You know what I love about this? Whatever I've learned through the art of conversation, because conversing is an art. It really is. It's an art form. And I've learned through the art of having a conversation that being present in the moment is the only way you can truly create the best thing possible. When you're present in the current moment and you're not thinking about what should I say, how should I say it, and you just let things flow, everything turns out perfect. Perfect. You couldn't design it better. If you sat there and took hours and hours and hours of planning and this and that and how am I going to address it, it doesn't beat being in the moment and flowing. I'll give you a good example. A boxer in their prime, like Muhammad Ali, when he was in his prime and he was just loose, that's how he beat George Foreman and knocked him out in the 8th round in his mid-30s. That was unheard of. Why? Because he was in flow. He wasn't in his prime. He was in flow, though. He was just let the jab fly.
Flowing like water.
And that's what I do here, man. I let it flow. I let them fly. I let my hands go. Figuratively speaking. Me, I let it ride. And every time I'm here, I promise you, I record a whole episode, and I think it's the best episode I've ever done. And I come back, and you can ask the mad scientist over there. It gets better and better and better every time. And it's just a matter of, obviously, I'm getting better with time, right? I'm practicing. However, it's all about flow, man. It's all about being in the present moment.
Gotcha.
Definitely.
Honing that craft.
For sure, man. You ever read a book called The Power of Now?
Yo, I actually have heard of it. I got into the first couple pages. I got the gist of it, but I didn't really finish it. But I read, and I remember that he quit everything and just stayed in a park and just
Yeah, so the author's name is Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
And he had a thought. I remember the first chapter like it was yesterday. It's an amazing book. He says he remembers had this state of depression forever and ever and ever for a really long time, and he was just miserable all the time. And one day he was sitting in a park bench, and he had a thought, and he said, I can't stand myself anymore. And then he said, that's funny. I can't stand myself, so is the I and me different? And with that thought, his entire reality shattered. Because he realized it's not me that's talking about me in my brain. That me that's talking about me is ego. Ego is trying to make you feel like you're smaller than you are. And when you operate from true self and live in the present moment, there's no limit to what you can do in life.
That's the truth right there. That's something I'm dealing with right now, honestly. I've been in this path for the beginning of the year now. where I actually went through some really traumatic stuff in the beginning of the year. I was with my friend. We were walking to a gas station, a liquor store, and I believe it was actually a Fresco, to be honest with you.
AKA former Winn-Dixie.
Yeah, yeah, like it's literally like down the street from my house. And bro, homie got hit by a car, like
Oh man.
literally like from the median to the Chipotle. So like I was right there next to him. I could have been with him. You know what I mean? He got like brain injury and yeah, bro, like the whole nine. That was February 31st, I believe. February 28th, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe more. I don't know. It was like around that time, beginning of the year. It brought back some bad stuff from the past. You know what I mean? Like some other shit. And yeah, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to address the I. You know what I mean? Or the myself. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I've never addressed that because where we come from, you know, Hialeah 305 represent. It's not really talked about. It's not really something that's addressed, or, you know, the older generation doesn't really acknowledge what mental health is and its importance. So it was definitely a mission, you know, especially growing up the way we did. Like, it's not something that, I don't know, it's not something that's, it's usually self-medicated. You know what I'm saying? So trying to get away from that and doing it a constructive way, the right way, it's definitely been a journey because it's not something you get right off the rip. So, yeah, I have complete, like, I don't know, I'm really sure that I'm on the right path right now because I've gotten a lot better, but it doesn't get better if you half-ass it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's good what you said, like the I can't stand myself, because sometimes we still may feel like that even through this journey, but at the end of the day, like, what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying?
So I heard something really useful a long time ago. One of my mentors, I was listening to one of his audios, and he said that most people picture their life as a lotto ticket. They're looking for the lottery. They're looking for a way out. If I could just, if only I can,
Would be nice.
Would be nice if, and they're always looking for the lotto ticket. You need to look at your life as a sculpture, not a lotto ticket.
Yeah.
A sculpture is a never-ending process of improving and getting better. And one day my vision is, okay, maybe he looks like this, and then the next day the vision might be a little different. Might go a different path. However, every day that passes by that you're working on the sculpture, it gets closer to being a masterpiece. May never get there. However, each day that passes makes it that much better.
You know, it's crazy you mentioned that, because yesterday, the person that brought us here, I was talking to Lay, and I was just telling him, like, the journey is what we are in and is what we are. You know what I'm saying? Because just like my dog, like, I can't really speak to him right now because, you know, he doesn't remember who I am right now. Right. You know what I'm saying? And even though his subconscious knows, like, the last time I spoke to him, he actually, he said what's up to me, and he's like, yeah, text me, which is what he always used to say when he was, like, going through some shit. Like, you know, he wasn't in the mood, and he gave me a phone number. So I wrote down the phone number. I'm getting chills. I wrote down the phone number, and it wasn't his number, but off, you know, subconscious habit, it was still him, even though it wasn't. You know what I mean? So I guess the ego is still intact, or the soul still, you know, so it's something I'm still trying to understand. But I was talking to him, like,
complexities of the mind.
I was talking to Lay about, once we get to where we want to be, we're not going to be happy. Like, we're going to want to keep going. We're never going to be satisfied. But the only thing that changes is who's there and what you look at around you and appreciate. Like he might not be in my life at that moment. You know what I'm saying? I might not be in his life at that moment. But the whole important thing is, like, yo, I'm here with you right now. I'm here with him right now. And that's something we got to appreciate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if we're a product of our environment and we make our environment like a good, positive one, then why would you not want to remember everything around you and what got you there? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think I would have acknowledged this thought if I was still on the same shit I was before, you know, before this journey. So that's something that I really want people to acknowledge. Like it's not overnight, like you said. Like it's a sculpture, and it's also like, I don't know, it's a long ass walk. And you might not get to where you want to get to.
It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You know what I mean? It's about it's not about who does it fastest. It's about who can endure more. I have a quote on my door, and I look at it every day before I leave. It says, "Genius is the capacity to take infinite pains." That's what true genius is. You know what the difference between me and Thomas Edison is? Thomas Edison tried to make the light bulb 10,000 times, and he failed 9,999, my brother. That's what a genius is. The capacity to take pain after pain after pain after pain and turn it into greatness. That's genius.
Yep.
And that's the capacity that all humans are capable of. We're just, society has cultivated us to this microwave, easy mentality, take a pill, lose 20 pounds, fast cheeseburger, I don't have time to make quality food. Oh man, let me look at these OnlyFans chicks because I'm too lazy to work on my game, and I don't want to go talk to women. Everything is just, and guess what? As fast as my fingers snap, that's how fast whatever you're trying to get right away, that's how fast it's gonna go away. As fast as it came, that's how fast it's gonna go away. However, if you build something and you take the time to sit there and bang your head against the wall and look for information and learn how to do it the right way and get better at it and build something from scratch, that's eternal. How long did the pyramids take to get built? A long time. And those motherfuckers are going to be here until you and me are fucking dust, my brother. Because they took sweat and they took equity and they took a million slaves to build those things.
It took lives.
Literally.
Yep.
Why? Because it took time. Those things took time to build, and they were carefully crafted, and they're gonna be here till the end of time. That's what I want to be like. I want to be. So think about it this way: do you want your life to be like a cheeseburger or like a pyramid? I want it to be like a pyramid.
Yep.
Pyramids took time, took effort, and took years of massive work.
Like Kylie would say, it's not no Mickey Mouse.
No, man. No, man. Definitely not.
It's not no Mickey Mouse. It's that real uncut.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It takes 7 days to make a Rolls Royce. It takes 13 hours to make a Toyota, my brother.
For real?
Oh, yeah. That's a fact. You can look that up right now. It takes 13 hours to build a Toyota. It takes 7 days to make a Rolls Royce. One's worth $30,000. The other one is worth $350,000.
What's crazy is people will still complain why it's so expensive as compared to a Corolla.
Yeah, but the people who complain can't afford it anyway, so who gives a shit?
Saying.
Who cares?
That's
I don't
what
give a
saying.
shit. Who cares? You know what I mean?
Yep.
You see Rolls Royce doing, Black Friday sale. No, 0% APR. They don't do commercials, man.
To be honest, that's exactly how I treat my graphic design. I was just talking to you about that. Like, you know, you have to know your value, because at the end of the day, you can get the same work done somewhere else. But, bro, I just did a cover for Lay, and, you know, it took a little longer than I expected because of the whole journey I was in. But also, I'm not going to send and sell no low-quality project. You know what I mean? If I'm not in the right mindset to deliver what I want to deliver and what I promised, then it'll take some time. But at the end of the day, you know, quality is quality, and quality takes time, you know?
100%.
So, yeah, you can go somewhere else and get that, but it might not be the same quality. It might. I'm not discrediting anybody, you know, but that's exactly how I see my graphic design. Because that's the only way to do business, really. Like, if you don't value yourself, who's going to value your work?
So one of the major things that I learned from Tony Montana was know my worth. There's a scene, and I've spoken about this briefly in the podcast. I'm going to put this in my second book. There's a scene where he's leaving the cafeteria because Manny's, contacts are there to see him, to hire him for a job, and they walk outside to meet Omar at the Cadillac. And Omar's like, oh, yeah, $500 a night. And then Tony Montana goes, who do you think we are, baggage handlers? It's $1,000 a night. And he said it. The man had no money in his pocket. The man had holes in his shoes. He was washing dishes in a cafeteria. And he looked one of the top one of the top gangsters in all of Miami. He looked at him in the eye and said, "I know my worth, bro. Don't twist my circumstances for what I'm worth. Circumstances are temporary. My worth and my principles are solid. That's forever. Know your worth is important, brother." Now, some people, here's the thing though, some people confuse their worth and what they're capable of with what they're physically exuding in the world. Now, know your worth, right? However, if your product is subpar, you need to get better. You need to improve your skills.
Yes, sir.
There's a balance there. I'm all for charging what you're worth. I'm also all for step your game up. We always need to step our game up. I'm a person who's always
as a student.
100%. I live by a saying they have in Japan. It's called Kaizen, constant, never-ending improvement. That's what that stands for. Kaizen. If you ever have the chance to look up the story of Honda, look it up. It's very inspiring. Seiichiro Honda, I'll tell it really quick. Seiichiro Honda was a person who dreamed of founding a company that would make pistons for Toyota. That was his dream. That was his dream his whole life. He spent years trying to design a piston that he was going to sell to Toyota. As usual, whenever someone's chasing a dream, your friends and your family and the people that know you will call you an idiot and they say you're stupid and they say you don't know what you're doing. Stick to school. You're a student. What do you know about pistons? You're not an engineer. Blah, 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 blah. All this stuff. Guess what? He ignored them. He kept working on his stuff in spite of what people around him told him. He made the piston and he got a meeting with Toyota. While he got it. They rejected it. What did his friends and family say? We told you, you're stupid, stick to studying, blah, 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 blah. He had to endure all that, right? Went back to the drawing board, took another few years, rebuilt the piston, went back to Toyota. Toyota said, yes, we'll take 20,000 units. Holy shit, all right. Now I got to figure out how to make 20,000 units. Now, he goes and finds a location for a factory. Starts building a factory. What's the issue? They're in the middle of World War II. The factory gets bombed. When he's about to fulfill the 20,000 pistons, right? What, you think this guy flinched? You and I would have quit and went home. We're like, all right, it's just not meant to be, right? What does Honda do? He tells his employees, listen, by the way, he's not paying his employees. His employees are working off the dream, the promise of being able to be in business with Toyota. So he tells his employees, guys, those airplanes are dropping fuel tanks, and the fuel tanks have an ingredient that I can use to create a new formula for concrete. Bro, the guy came up with a new formula for concrete.
Off pistons.
Pistons
mission.
Yeah.
Came up with concrete.
New formula because they didn't have, by the way, since it's World War II, they didn't have concrete in Japan. They ran out of concrete.
Christ.
So the guy convinces his employees in the middle of these bombings to go pick up the fuel tanks from the airplanes that crash.
Oh, what?
To get the ingredient in the fuel tank to create concrete to rebuild the factory. In the middle of World War II, he rebuilds the factory. He's about to fulfill the order. 7.0 earthquake hits the factory.
So it's not even a bombing. It's some natural shit you can't control.
So at this point, I get it. He quit. He was like, all right, it's not in me anymore. And listen, I don't blame him, right?
That sounds like something that God told him. Like, yo, hey,
right?
You got to stop, bro.
So what happens? He goes back to living his broke, mediocre life, and he's riding the bike to the supermarket one day. And he's like, man, I'm pedaling too much. And he gets a little lawnmower motor. He puts it on the bike, and now he has a little motorized bike, right? And then people start asking him about the bike. And listen, can you do that for me? He starts building them for people. And then one day, he gets an idea, and he's like, you know what? I want to do this for everybody. Everybody would like this, right? So he tries building it, and he tries marketing the product. He fails because apparently it wasn't the right model to market. And in a last-ditch effort to make it big, he writes a letter to every bike shop owner in Japan asking for seed money to invest in his idea. He calls it the motorcycle. So out of the 2,000-something, I don't know what number that he wrote to, about 180 of them said yes, and they invested, and that's how Honda was founded.
Off $1 and a dream. Not even $1, actually. That was just off a dream and hustle, basically.
You know how Hondas are tested?
How?
Hondas are driven to their max. They hit the gas, they turn corners, they drift, they stomp on the brakes, and they keep driving the car like that until something breaks in the car. And then they go back and reverse engineer it, and they try to figure out why it broke. They fix it, and then they get back in the car and start cranking it again, full speed. That's why Hondas are indestructible. That's why Hondas from the 1980s are still riding around today.
Let me ask you something. Did he create the motorcycle?
He created the first motorcycle on the planet. Yeah. Goat status.
That story resonates because as a graphic designer, you're not talking to, that's any graphic designer. Like, that's literally like the struggle. You know what I'm saying? Like, go back to school, have a plan B. You know, everybody. Well, yeah. I felt like that's the artist curse, really, because even if you're a musician, like, I feel like it's just any field that's filled with competition. You know,
which is everything. Everything, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
but like...
No, but listen, competition is the best thing that'll ever happen to you. Competition forces you to get better. That's why I love the free market. That's why I love capitalism.
I love competition, but what I'm talking about is how artists are seen in the society. There's so many of us that, like, the society sees us just like you contribute nothing to society. You know what I mean? Whereas if... I was having a conversation with an Italian guy the other day, and he said that when he goes to Italy, the artists are seen as, like, you know, the recorders of history, because at the end of the day, like, we resonate what's around us, and just like comedians, like, what they're talking about is a poke at how society is really doing at the time, you know? So they sort of see them as like entertainers, but also like what is going to be remembered in their time, that they, you know, what nostalgia is made out of.
Oh yeah.
So in the US, like, there's so many of us because we have so much freedom and so much, like, available to us that now there's not that many doctors and all that. I guess that's why it's seen like how it's seen. But there's so much stigma behind being an artist or something like that, that it's like, you know, it's sometimes harder to do it. But at the end of the day, if you stick to it, because I could tell you, I've told this to a lot of people. I don't know what else I'm good at other than art. I've been doing this for most of my life, you know, so I always stuck to it. So it came to a point that, like, I just got to the position I'm at where I'm like, all right, I'm a graphic designer. I'm employed. I'm full-time doing this. I don't need to look for clients to feed myself and pay my bills, you know, off of graphic design. But, bro, a year and a half ago, my parents were not telling me, hey, you're a good graphic designer, or hey, I'm glad you're following your dreams, you know? Like, it took me getting 20 an hour for my mom to, like, brag about what I do in my life. Because society
is based on the success of if your success looks a certain way, then they'll celebrate you. If it looks different, you're made fun of and you're ridiculed.
Exactly.
So in my book, I call it the 4 stages of impossible. So first, they ignore you. You know, they don't even acknowledge what you're doing. They just think you're picking
Playing
up
around.
whatever you picked
Your little
as some
game.
as some temporary way to get your cheap thrill and get excited about life, and then you'll move on from that and jump onto something else. Yeah. So then the second thing they do is they laugh at you, right? So it goes from like non-acceptance to now ridicule. They make fun of you for going after your dreams because there's a part of you that's brave enough to go out there and take a chance, and they want to discourage that. They want you to go back to the herd because you make them look bad because they're not doing anything with their lives.
And they don't understand it, I feel like.
They do understand it. The issue is that they're cowards. And they want to be with the herd, and they don't want to take a chance. They don't want to take any risk. That. Yeah. So instead of being positive, which some people are, you know, we all have some positive people in life that encourage us, it's easier to be negative and tell you, oh, that's not possible. That's not going to happen. How many people does that work out for? Oh, slim to none, all that, right? And then there's a third stage. Once there's promise of you succeeding, now they fight you. Now they throw everything they got at you because you're about to hit the finish line. Yep. So they try to sue you. They try to physically threaten you with violence. They try to emotionally, like, whatever they can to fight you in tooth and nail. At this point, it's too late, though, because you're already about to hit the finish line. So
you don't even give a fuck anymore.
You don't, and you're gonna deal with some crazy adversity, though. You're gonna deal with your finances are gonna be attacked. Your character's gonna come into question. That's when, you know, the people, if you got money, you got the cousins coming out of the woodwork saying you want money because of the idea you gave them 10 years ago or whatever. Like, that's when you deal with the craziness. And then what happens? You win. You finally win after you do all that. I call that the phases of impossible. That's a chapter in my book.
Let me ask you something. What is your book about? Because I just came into contact with you, you know, like, explain to me, like, what is the Montana method?
My way of life. It's my kung fu. It's my legacy. It's what I hope to pass on to the world. It's so in the introduction, I say that most people in life take a beating, and they just take a beating and become a victim and blame other people and circumstances. And that's not that. The Montana method is the opposite of that. It's the jiu-jitsu of life. And if you learn this and become a black belt in the way of life, in the Montana method, like I have, life takes on a whole different meaning. You're not a victim anymore. You're a captain of your ship. You're a total master of your circumstances, and life happens not to you but for you, because regardless of your circumstances, you figure it out because of your way of life. Because
Just
of
like
your
a
way of being.
bob and weave with life, basically, just rolling with the punches.
Because the punches come at everybody. The difference is, are you a great fighter or do you fight great?
Like DMX said, to live is to suffer. To suffer, well, that's just finding the meaning in the pain, in the suffer. Just bob and weave, see what the hell it means. You know what I mean?
Buddha said that nirvana is the ending of all suffering.
Nirvana is in the ending of all suffer.
Yep. Meaning, he left it open-ended. He just basically said that past that, once you stop suffering, nirvana, peace, is whatever you make it. As long as you're not suffering, the possibility is limitless. Because suffering is optional. You know when we suffer as humans? When we make it about ourselves. When you make it about you,
true.
That's when you suffer. However, if you immediately shift your focus and make it about how can I impact other people, suffering is gone immediately. Like this.
But you know what the slippery slope with that is? When some people take it upon themselves to focus on everybody else except for their own problems.
No, I mean, self-care is real. You need to take care of yourself. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you make it all about you, that's an issue. Now we're talking about being selfish.
Gotcha.
Right?
I feel like it's a slippery slope, though. You don't think? Because it's like...
Because most people are selfish, very selfish, and they just don't like to admit it. Oh, my God, I do so much for everybody else, and no one does anything for me.
I see what you're saying.
Oh, so what you're saying is you're doing this to get recognition.
To get stuff back.
Oh, you're doing this to get stuff back. You're not doing this to...
Throw it in someone's face. I understand that. I understand that.
Now, when you evolve and you decide, I'm just going to do because I want to do. Because friends don't owe. They do because they want to do. Yep. And they're there because they want to be there.
Of course. No one owes you anything in this life. That is something that is very hard to learn. And
this generation has such an entitlement mentality, brother.
Yes.
It makes me sick sometimes because they think they deserve everything. And we should send anyone who thinks they're entitled in the United States. You just send them to a third world country where they have to walk 10 miles to a river to get some water and go hunt a gazelle to eat, or else they won't eat that night. And then let them figure that out.
Not even that extreme. Just go to. I'm from Dominican Republic. Just go to DR where you have water for 4. Like you don't have water for 4 hours, or you know what I'm saying. Like sometimes se fue la luz. You know what I'm saying. Yeah. Like. You have to deal with things that are beyond your control.
You're preaching to the choir, brother. In Cuba, right now, that's a whole nother subject, man. But yeah, it's rough in Cuba.
It's rough outside of here.
Yeah.
I mean, some people even have bombings every day, bro. But we don't even know about that. What does the media say about it? You know what I'm saying? Unless you look for it, like, what does anybody even know about it? Other than the headlines that they retweet and think they know about, you know? Like, I don't know. I feel like in America is sort of backwards, but I feel like we're shifting the conversation here a little.
That brings up an interesting thought. Do you think the world is better now than it was 500 years ago or worse?
I feel like it all depends. It's definitely we're definitely in a better place. You know, like there's like, I feel like there's a bit of safety where we're at, where this society is.
Right.
But all that safety sort of made us soft and sensitive.
A double-edged sword.
Yeah, like we have all this technology. It's the easiest time to make bread, to make money, to look for a job, to do anything. But some people just rather be a influencer, you know? And I'm not bashing the influencer game, because if you can do that and balance everything else you need, you know, and use that for knowledge, then that's straight. But how many videos do we need about there's a squirrel in my pants? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you can hop in the train and have fun, but some people they base their whole career.
By the way,
I know
I'm a you know, I don't like the word influencer. I create content. I call myself a content creator. Not a content creator. I call myself a creator.
That's different.
I'm just an artist. You know what I mean? So the whole TikTok thing of dancing in front of a camera, and you know, I'm not with it. I've had enough of it. Listen, at the end of the day, I love entrepreneurship. So if that's how you're getting your bag,
that's what I'm saying.
That's great.
If you want to use your bag and get to a bigger platform, then bro, that's something different.
Right,
but like, imagine a 40-year-old that's still doing this. You know, like, I don't know. I had a clothing brand when I was 18. I started a clothing brand with a homie, right? And after, like, you know, we had a fallout, whatever, 5 years later, and I dropped a shirt. I never really marketed it, but it was called Graduate to Wait. So the whole concept of it is like, you know, you graduate to wait in the streets, it might mean something, but I had a scale and what's the graduation hat called? The one they
cap and
throw up
gown.
Yeah, like the little hat.
The cap.
Like,
It's called a cap. Yeah.
the cap, like I had that because it's like, if you read and you know, you gain knowledge, you will eventually graduate to weight. You'll have a lot of, you know, like weight as in like knowledge. Like,
Right.
you will literally know what to do and what to do with it, you know? But if you stay in plateau on, I don't know, I guess a mental state, you're not going to get anywhere. Like we were talking, like you can build a sculpture for 20 years, but if it looks the same and you're just taking pictures in front of it, what work are you really doing, you know? And that's what I felt. That's what I mean by influencers, like people who just make videos and, you know, it's funny content and shit, but like, what are you really contributing to society? Like, like, what are you really leaving in the world? Just funny business? Or are you trying to like teach someone like, yo, like, you know, this shit's funny and all, but here's what I really want to do on the side. You know, here's where my bag is really going, you know? Because at the end of the day, like, what is it all for? What is it all for? We can't take none of this shit with us. That's really all it is.
Denzel Washington says, "You'll never see a U-Haul behind a hearse."
Damn, that's crazy. Cause you can't. What are you gonna do? Like have a Florida, like you're gonna have a Cali king size like casket to have all your shit in it? You know, like it doesn't work like that. But I feel like that's what's wrong with, like, we can't really compare 500 years ago, but technology is not used and our resources are not being used for what they could be used for, you know? And I feel like that's what brings the self-entitlement or the entitlement, because, bro, we're just not going where we need to go.
I just think it's interesting.
I'm a product of it too. I'm not going to lie, but
I think it's super interesting that I actually run into people where we have this conversation and they say the world's worse than it's ever been. And I'm like, really? 1,000 years ago, you walked into a Roman Colosseum and people slaughtered each other for fun, for entertainment. That was legal. That was completely fine.
Imagine just like a woman right now. She says no to a man, and he could just he could just be like, "Oh, okay, let's go." You know,
it's wild.
Like, is it really better than it was before? Because I don't really think so.
Yeah,
like,
definitely not. You get caught up. God forbid you were somewhere in Asia and you got caught in front of the Mongols when they were tearing across Asia. You know, when Genghis Khan was just tearing Asia up. No, man, the world's in a much better place than it was 500 or 1,000 years ago. We're evolving forward. The difference is, here's the major difference. When Genghis Khan was tearing across Asia and then you lived in Europe, you never found out about it. Well, you probably did from somebody who traveled and told the legends of Genghis Khan. Yeah, it took him 10, 12 years to get to that part of the world. However, what's the difference now? Now I got Instagram, so if someone gets shot in the head in Japan, I found out about it 2 minutes later. So it gives you the illusion that the world is worse. It's not that the world is worse. It's just
know more.
We know more and we have access to more information. That's the only difference between now and then. The main difference.
That brings a question. Do you think all that bad news is what's making us more negative?
No. I think we're positive beings as is. The issue is what we put into our brains is what makes us negative. So people that watch the news and consume all this negativity and consume it and eat bad food. It. And you get in your brain, you get in what you put out, my brother.
Yeah.
You get what you put out. Like whatever you're putting in is what's going to come out. So if you're putting in positivity, if you're reading books, if you're going to seminars, if you get a mentor, if you're putting in the work to improve yourself as a human being, you're going to see the results. They're going to manifest. It's not magic. It's work. It's work. It's a process. However, if you're eating cheeseburgers and, you're not working on your game and you're gaining weight and, you're not looking to learn, you're just watching Netflix and you're working at the same dead-end job, how do you expect your life to improve? How do you expect your life to improve?
It won't.
It's work. Stop wishing. It's not about wishing. It's about going out and getting it. Listen, there's millions of examples we could talk about of people who had worse circumstances than you and me, and they're living a better life than us today. Right? So why not us? Why not us?
It could be us, but it's work.
That's all I'm saying.
It's all where you start off too. But also, the richest person could be even more depressed and suicidal than we are. Like, money doesn't solve anything. You know what I'm saying? Money is the root of all evil, but it's also financial freedom. But it could be whatever you choose it to be. You know what I'm saying? Because, you could have all of it, but it could be the root of all evil because you're not happy yet. You're choosing for it not to be happiness. You could literally just be like, okay, today I'm just going to take...
Money,
just enjoy it.
I equate money. Money's nothing more than a tool. Money's a magnifying glass. It makes you more of what you already are. So check this out. If you hit the lotto and you cut off your family, it's because you never gave a shit in the first place. When you had no money and you had $5, I can bet my life you didn't give $2.50 to your brother if he was with you to go eat a cheeseburger. You kept the $5 and you told him, I don't have money. You're going to do the same thing when you got $5 million. You're going to cuff that and you're not going to give anybody anything to your family. You're not going to help out nobody. If you were the person that gave his shirt off his back to his brother when his brother had no clothes, guess what? When you have $10 million, you're going to give money to your brother and you're going to take care of your brother or your mother. You know what I mean?
That's my point.
Money is a magnifying glass. Money is an amplifier. It makes you more of what you already are. It doesn't change you. It doesn't change you at all.
I see what you're saying.
Money is a tool, brother. Money doesn't affect anything.
I feel that, but how many people are the second thing you said? You know what I'm saying?
That's determined by the person. That's not determined by the money. The money is nothing more than a mirror.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a reflection of what you are.
All evil, because you could just, the pinga, you just leave everything behind, or you could just, have it be financial freedom. What's financial freedom? For some people, it could be something else, but for me, it's just, I want to talk to my people and have them be all right, just as well as I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's financial freedom. Because at the end of the day, like, if you have no one to enjoy it with, what are you really doing? That's what I was talking about. Like, it's a journey, but whatever you have around you is your... I talked to my best friend, and I explained it to her like this. Like, if you have someone in your life, that's your world, because you're letting them into your world. Like, if a bear shits in the wood, it's like Genghis Khan. Did that really happen to the Europeans because they didn't know about it? They weren't directly affected by it. That's not part of their world until they were introduced to that information. So if you take care of your world, then your world should be good, right? So your support group, the people that hold you down, the people that hit you up every day, every week, wouldn't you want to take care of them the same way they take care of you? Because if that part of your life is good, then, bro, tomorrow looks pretty promising, don't it? You feel me? If we're like, someone told me this like years ago, and it's always stuck to me. You have to make your network be as tight as chain link. Because when it's put together, what gets through that shit? You know what I'm saying? Bro, it's better than Kevlar, ain't it? So it's like, how many people really think like that? You know?
Not many.
That's what I'm saying. So I feel like it's just like everyone wants to be like that dude, that guy, and that's what that guy is. But that's all social media, bro. It's all everybody just not having an original thought and just being like, yo, let me just, let me do what that guy's doing because it looks pretty cool.
Social media is a bunch of bullshit.
Yep. It's a good tool.
No, man. Social media nowadays is a dick measuring contest. This is straight up what social media has become. It's let me post my best photos when I'm looking the best, when I'm going out, when I'm wearing my best dress, when I'm with my boyfriend and he's, he has his little tuxedo on, when we're going to dinner at some super exclusive club that we got invited to that we're not paying dinner for because we can't afford it, on some super expensive vacation that we saved all year for, but we're going to take 1 million pictures and we're going to post it all year. Take me back. You know what I mean? That's what it's become. Yep. That's what it's become. You know how your relationship gets better? It's not nobody's business. Don't post it. Don't make it public. Yep. Who cares? Yep. Why do you need to? You want people? Oh, because you want other people to admire you. Oh, okay. Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense,
At the end of the day,
right?
it says more about you than it says about your life. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
it says more about your life than it does about you, I guess, or what you really want from others. Like,
it's ego, brother.
Yep.
It's nothing more than
You ever
ego.
heard of the term ego death?
That the Kanye song that just came out with Ty Dolla $ign. Have you heard it? It's called Ego Death.
No, I haven't. I haven't heard that yet.
Go bump it in the car as soon as you leave, dog. My ego, bro. Woo, that song is hard.
How do you feel about Kanye?
I'm Team Kanye. 100%.
You're Team Kanye?
Except for him making the joke about the last little joke he made about Hitler and all that. That's not cool. But other than that, I'm Team Kanye, 100%.
I felt like he's missing a PR team because he's an artist. And, although he is just speaking his mind, he could have said it some different, the whole Hitler thing. But if you look past everything, and this goes with everything, not only Kanye, if you look past everything and just look at the message they're trying to convey, you're going to see the wisdom they're trying to say. And if there is no wisdom, you can just bump it down the road. You feel me? But at the end of the day, if there is something to it, then there is something to it. And what he's saying is just like to come together as a collective, and to bring unity. He's saying some real hateful shit, so no one's taking it as that. But that's the actual message he's trying to convey, and I don't feel people are hearing that because of what you said. Social media. What do they show? The little clips. That's just like the worst of the worst, But I ask you about Kanye because it's like the main topic, but I don't really let all that shit affect my point of view on his music.
He's a good example of what. So he's a great example of the whole social media conversation we're having because you can take something out of context,
Real easy.
Very easy. Very easy, and it happens to 1 million different. I mean, look at Joe Rogan. How many videos? He's the world's most successful podcaster. People love him, and there's constant videos of him things. He's a comedian, bro. He says jokes.
He's a stand-up comedian.
It's his job to make fun of people.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna get these videos and make them just get this little clip? It's out of context. It doesn't make any sense. And what happens? People love him even more. People get on his side even more. The more you try to erase something from history, the more you try to suppress it or cancel it, the more people are gonna support it. Because the question that now rises up is why do you hate this guy? I'm gonna listen to this guy. I'm gonna come up with my own opinion.
Yeah. Is it really that bad? Are you guys really, racist curiosity.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know. I heard a question, like if you're continuously listening to his music still, are you supporting his behavior? And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm just listening to some good music because that's what music is, But am I going to go ahead and put importance into his whole rant about all that shit? No. I'm not.
I mean, we could go down a rabbit hole with that. Am I supporting,
I
mean, bro, how far down am I supporting, if I listen to Pop Smoke, am I supporting gang violence? No.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, we could go down a whole rabbit hole. That's not what it is, man. Music is music.
Music is self-expression. You can't take it for what it is. That's why, like, when yo, when rappers started getting charged on what their music said, I was like, what the fuck is this? You know, what the fuck is this? Like, this is, what about Eminem saying all that shit back in the day?
It was his art, man. It's not,
But,
you know.
but why wasn't, you know, like, when did this change?
Because Eminem was only talking about his personal experience. He wasn't talking about killing people or other people. He was talking about his mom and his wife.
You was sort of talking about killing, you know.
Yeah, in a figurative way. He wasn't pointing out. He wasn't putting names and the neighborhoods, and it was these guys. You know what the issue is, and this is where I put my foot down and I disagree completely. Hip hop artists specifically need to stop rapping about shooting and killing and popping mollies and popping perks.
I agree.
It's not cool. It doesn't contribute to society. You're gonna the youth is gonna think it's cool. They're gonna think that that's what you gotta do to be cool, and they're gonna emulate you because they worship you. So you, as a grown ass man, need to realize that you are not contributing anything positive to society. I'm very disappointed in Drake at this point. I used to love his music. I don't listen to him anymore, and I probably won't listen to him again until he, you know. I think Nothing Was the Same is a classic hip hop album. It's my favorite Drake album. And the stuff he's coming out now, like, you know, linking up with someone with 21 Savage, saying, I mean, I get it. Drake made a song with Nas later to kind of rub it in 21 Savage's face, but still, like, a guy like 21 Savage saying Nas is irrelevant, really? You exist because of Nas. You're Nas's grandchild, bro.
I was just talking to Lay about that. Like, I understand what they're saying. Like, right now, regular people that are listening to the radio and shit
I get
that,
it, yeah.
they don't want to listen to Nas because the music sucks nowadays, in my opinion, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally just like entertainers. It's not MCs. It's not lyricists. It's not. So, like, we come from a generation that it was just different. Yeah. So Nas is always going to be on top, but they paved the way for people to do what they're doing right now. So you can't say shit like that. Because at the end of the day, that's like disrespecting your grandfather, like you said. You know what I'm saying? That's disrespecting your own bloodline. That's disrespecting where you come from, your ancestors. Like,
For sure.
But that's where we at right now. You know, like, that's where we at right now. Like,
New generation full of videos.
I was also talking to him the other, like, yo, that's my dog right there. Lay's my dog, bro. Like, we be having some conversations like this because it's like we completely opposites, bro. Like,
yeah, no, me and Lay have...
just look at how I'm dressed.
Me and Lay have
like,
talked about this kind of stuff all the time. He knows where my stance is. He has a different opinion. He's still my brother. He's
that's
still
what
good. Yeah,
I feel like. Variety is the spice of life, bro. Like, at the end of the day, I want to listen to the other perspectives because if we live off our own views, how are we gonna grow? How are we gonna question ourselves? How are we going to evolve? You know, if you don't read, if you just listen to social media, then where are you gonna go other than memes? You know what I'm saying? But what we were talking about was, like, if you're talking all this stuff in music, aren't you glorifying the same shit that you're trying to get away from? How do you expect to get away from it?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, some of these cats do it the smart way, and, you know, they don't exude hate. You know, they know how to work the market. But at the same time, you got to use that bag. Like, 21 Savage does a lot of drives, you know. He gives back to his neighborhood, you know. So you can't really knock that. But a lot of cats just don't care.
He also contributes to the ignorant part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm
not saying he's completely right on it, but at least he does something positive in his platform.
I'm not judging these people as I'm not judging him as a man. I'm not judging him as I'm just saying your art form. You're talking about certain things.
You're glorifying this shit, bro.
And then let's take it a step further. Where's the cancel culture? Where is the cancel culture? They're literally talking about killing people, shooting, and they have names, Rico and all this stuff. Where's the cancel culture? No one's talking about cancel culture for that, right? Where's it? Hello, rappers are dying every day. Rappers are getting shot all the time.
By their own people.
Rest in peace, Takeoff. Rest in peace, Pop Smoke. Rest in peace, Tupac, Biggie, the legends. That it all started. It's been happening too long. It needs to end. And it just doesn't make any sense, man. These people are icons. People are worshipped. And the fact that they get killed is just, it doesn't make any sense to me, man. I'm telling you, the culture will change if we are what we put in our brains is what we get out. Let's talk about. That's why I was a big fan of Kanye when he came out, because he talks about different things in his music. He didn't talk about shooting anybody or shooting up dope or selling heroin. He talked about the things that were important to him, you know, and it's a perspective. That's just my perspective. It's art, and I get it. That's just my 2 cents.
I feel like it's because where he came from. He came from our generation where, you know, he was making music with dilated people and, you know, the JD era coming. Like, yo, like, it was just a different time back then. And then, you know, some people call him.
Life tonight, it goes starting to
Can't live my life. I can't, yo, like, it was just a different message. So he had that, like, you know, his little style to everything that's been relevant, and he's just killed it.
Definitely.
He just killed it. Except for that whoop dee scoop. Scoop dee whoop.
Scoop dee. That's funny. Ego Death. Listen to the song Kanye featuring Ty Dolla $ign. That song is gonna blow your mind.
I got to.
I'm telling you. Listen to it as soon as you get in the car. So, my brother, this has been an absolute honor and a pleasure to have you in my space. I wrap up every interview. It's not really an interview. It's a conversation, man. I wrap up every conversation on my podcast the same way. I asked 3 questions. 1, what inspires you?
Myself. I'm just kidding. The people around me, bro. The people around me, like, you know how you're talking about, like, people just follow, like, the wrong things? Like, I don't follow politics. I don't follow none of that shit on the most part. I just follow the things that inspire me, you know, like streetwear, graffiti, art, animals, pimple popping videos, you feel me? Just like, just random shit that makes me feel good inside or that visually satisfies me or like, I don't know, bro, just shit that inspires my aesthetic eye. You know what I'm saying?
So I just created the cancel button. It's right here.
There you go. Hey, that look like a pimple popping video, man. Fuck around. I might film that shit, go viral.
This guy, he's inspired by pimple popping videos.
Nah,
right.
bro, like, as you can see, you know, I got my vape on. Actually, this is a local Broward artist.
Dope.
Photoshop saved my life.
That's dope, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just things that I can resonate to or resonate with. And lately, I just been trying to stay away from the negative shit.
Good.
Just inspire people to, like, actually dig in here than in their phones. You know what I mean?
Super dope. I'm all about it. 2, what's your dream?
I dream of having an island away from everybody and still be able to talk to whoever I want to talk to. And just be around my people and have enough money to just self-sustain and not be able, you know, have a business that is self-sustaining, but I don't want to not work. I'm sort of addicted to work, so.
No, it's not work. It's called passion.
Yeah, like I like doing what I do. Let's just say that. So I want to be able to buy whatever I want to buy, go to wherever I want to go to, eat whatever I want to eat. And, yeah, like I don't want to. My whole dream is not to live until I can't wipe my own ass. That's my dream. I don't want that. I want to live and do everything I want to do before I get there, because I'll probably just, like, do like a dog and just, like, go to an old field and just die and shit and just leave everything to my people. I don't want them to take care of me. That's a whole drag, bro. I don't want to be a drag to nobody. That's my dream. I don't want to be a burden.
Being a burden on other people is one of my biggest fears.
Yeah.
For sure. I do everything possible to make sure
We got to take care of ourselves.
Hold down my own and give back to the people who, like my mother. And
yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Definitely. I'm there with you.
Yes, sir.
So 3, what's next for you?
I hope I get to eat my girlfriend's ass tonight. nah, but for real.
I didn't mean what's next for you in the next hour. I meant like what's next for you in your life.
Bro, I just want to bump up my salary, you know, stay in the same company for the first time in my life. I actually feel this way. Like, yo, I love where I work right now. I just want to, like, grow and grow and grow. I want to do more art, bro. I want to work with my dog Lay.
That's dope.
I actually stopped taking commissions because I want to work with people that I want to work with and take on bigger clients. Like, I want to build. That's what's next for me. I just want to build because I took a little break there, but now I'm back. You know what I mean?
Back like I never left.
Back like I never. Actually, yeah. I'm 2.0 right now, bro.
This is Montana Method 2.0 right now.
For real?
That's what this is. Yeah, this is the upgraded, rejuvenated, revamped, revitalized, reimagined version of my podcast. This is me at 85%, I would say. It's not at
85%.
Yeah, not at 100% yet. It will be there soon. Yeah. So.
Yo, a wise man said, if you want to get to 100, you got to aim for 150.
You got that right.
You hear me?
Yeah.
So, like, yo, if this is 85, this is looking like 100 to me. But if I want to see what 100 is for you, you know what I mean?
That's the beauty of it. Constant, never-ending improvement, right? So I'll never get to 100. It'll always be 85 for me, no matter how it looks.
That's what we was talking about.
There you go.
You're never going to be happy. That's the human curse, ain't it?
No.
Strive for perfection.
It's a blessing, because if you're constantly improving, that means you're always getting better, and it means I titled, there's a chapter in my book called Evolution. You're evolving. Your evolution as a human being, you're either growing or dying. There's no in between. And as long as you choose to grow and you're getting better, eventually you'll realize that masters never finish. And being a master, that's what it takes. Never finishing, always improving. Because there's always someone out there that's better than you. There's someone out there that's working harder than you. And there's a video I saw on Instagram that said, the guy said, it was another podcast, the guy said, I hope everyone ahead of me is working nonstop because I'm coming. And that's me, man.
That's the realest.
I can tell you right now, if Joe Rogan can make millions of dollars doing this, why can't I?
Why can't you? If you're putting the same amount of work. Like, and you know what I hate? When people compare you to something, because they'll say, like, you're the Hialeah version of Joe Rogan or some shit because you're doing a podcast. Nah, this is the Montana method.
I'm not the next Joe Rogan podcast. I'm the first Montana method.
Exactly.
100%, brother.
How many people going to get inspired off this, you know? And then how many people are going to keep the Montana method name going? You hear me? Like,
my goal is to make this a household name, man.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, what else are we doing it for? Other than to bless other people, you know?
100%, brother.
Yo, I appreciate you having me, man.
Of course, man. So how can people connect with you?
Hey, if you want any graphics, if you want any clothing, my graphic artist name is 26 Sane. It's the same across every platform. My clothing brand is called Them Worldwide, but it's actually a play on the word them. Is THEIM, because I am them. I do everything in it. I design, I print, I package, I deliver. I overwork myself. Bear with me with the orders, please. They're all hand printed. They're not made per order, you know. I have them already ready, but I still got to package and send everything. But, yo, that's where you can find me, Them Worldwide and 26 Sane. I respond to everybody, whether or not I work with you. I will send you somewhere else. All of my people are creative. All of my people are able. And, yo, like, if I vouch for someone, I vouch for someone. Like, I 100% trust them because bro, we got some creative-ass people in this city, dude. Like, we really got some creative-ass people in this city. And I feel like if you don't let your people shine, then who is going to let them shine? You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, everyone's shining, but, like, you know, if you're doing what you're doing and you have no people supporting you, then how else we going to all survive? Like, you know?
Definitely, bro.
So, 26 Sane, Them Worldwide, Montana Method. Bro, I appreciate you, bro.
No, of course. It was great having you here. This was a great conversation. We'll see if we do more in the future. So
I'm down.
Definitely, man.
Whenever.
Sounds good, bro. Alrighty, guys. So another episode of the Montana Method Podcast. Logging out. As always, push it to the limit. The world is yours. And always, always, always remember, guys, if you're not chasing a dream, life is meaningless. Chase your dream with all you got, and life will be fulfilling. I promise you that. See you on the next one.
Later.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really out here in these streets. That's day and night. Like there's nothing to it. When I was going through it, dog, I never got your call. I never asked for nothing, no. But now I want it all. I promise I'ma do it. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags.